Vengeance. Yeah, this is the closest I could get to a Batman mask. But anyway, let's talk about the Batman, finally! The Batman is finally out. Oh my god, this was my most anticipated film of all time. I think I said that a million times. I made a lot of Batman videos recently. That's basically just been all my recent videos. Batman is my favorite character of all time. Batman, Bruce Wayne, whatever you want to say, he is my favorite of all time. So of course I was excited for this movie, and this film is directed by Matt Reeves. And in The Batman, when the Riddler, a sadistic serial killer, begins murdering key political figures in Gotham, Batman is forced to investigate the city's hidden corruption and question his family's involvement. So of course I was excited for this movie. The trailers were amazing, and I went to that like fan first IMAX screening tonight. I got this awesome cup. I was gonna get one of the buckets, but they didn't have any, but at least I have this. I mean, I got this shirt before the movie even came out. I got this Funko Pop, like, I think the same day I got this shirt. No, actually a little bit before, like a few weeks ago. So, of course, I've been excited for the movie. And just a little bit of background, for those who haven't watched my channel before, as I said, Batman is my favorite character of all time. I've watched as much Batman content as I possibly can at this point. When I was younger, I even watched this. This is from 1949. Yeah, I think that will say enough, but they're some of my favorite films of all time. The Dark Knight trilogy is my favorite trilogy out there. Ever since I was a little kid, I love Batman, and going into this movie with this much hype, I was a little bit worried, of course, because when you go into a movie with so much hype, you know, it can barely live up to expectations, but this one did. And I'm not going to talk spoilers in the video, don't worry, I will have some type of spoiler review, discussion, something like that out soon, but my god, this movie is perfect. That's not a term that a lot of people like to throw around, especially with comic book films. I think they get a bad rep, of course, but this film is immaculately shot. I mean, it is gorgeous. Matt Reeves really has an eye for Gotham. I think that this is easily the best portrayal of Gotham so far because it is dark, it is slimy, and it's raining all the time, kind of like Seattle, which I'll talk about more in a little bit. And I just think that is exactly what we needed, because of course I love the Dark Knight trilogy. I think all those movies are 5 out of 5, like just, you know, perfect comic book film, perfect movies in general. I love them all, okay? I don't care what people say about some of them, but here we have a different interpretation of just this dirty city, and that is exactly what I wanted from the comics. Everything is so comic accurate, at least from what I've read. I can't believe the movie lived up to the hype. I haven't actually seen any of Matt Reeves' other films, so this is my first time. I haven't seen Planet of the Apes trilogy, so I know I need to get on that, but his direction is exactly what I envisioned Gotham. When I knew that we were getting a new Batman movie that didn't connect to the other ones, I was like, okay, I just wanted it to be dark, gritty, and all this stuff, because of course the Nolan films were dark and gritty, but this one is just very different. Again, it's slimy, you know, Bruce's hair is all over his face sometimes, and we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about Robert Pattinson. Now, I remember when he was first cast. I remember my mom sending me a meme that said something about WB like smoking a crack pipe, whatever, and casting Robert Pattinson, but I was worried when he was first cast because I had only seen him really in like Twilight, which is my least favorite film. But then I saw Good Time, and then I saw The Lighthouse, my favorite film of 2019, and then Tenet, and I knew this man was going to be perfect, the devil all the time. This man is perfect for Batman and Bruce Wayne, and this isn't a spoiler, don't worry. This is more of a Batman film than a Bruce Wayne film. Other ones have kind of balanced it. This one is definitely more heavily Batman related, at least for me. Again, I won't go into spoilers in this video, but I do recommend not watching this review if you don't want to know anything about the movie. I didn't watch any reviews, I still haven't. I avoided Twitter for like the past, I don't know, probably since Friday, I'd say, or no, probably since Monday, Sunday or Monday, just because I didn't want anything spoiled. Nothing was spoiled for me. Robert Pattinson in this movie is exactly what this style of Bruce Wayne should be. Now, there are plenty of ways you can do Bruce Wayne that work. I think that Christian Bale's is phenomenal, that billionaire playboy type guy who always has a bunch of girls, but he still is broken, sometimes physically, and he's ripped and all this stuff. But this one is very grungy, and that is because Robert Pattinson based his performance off of Kurt Cobain, obviously something in the way is used in that first trailer and in the movie like twice, I think, almost 3 times really, and you can see it. If you know Kurt Cobain, you know his body movements, his expressions like I do. Of course, I love Nirvana, who doesn't? One of my favorite bands. It is so well done. This is nothing that we've seen before. This is so different. This is like a breath of fresh air. And I know people say that all the time, and I know it always sucks when people say it, but when it comes to the story of Batman, this is different because this is year 2 of Batman. He says it here. He has like a journal, all stuff he writes in, and this is year 2 of Batman. So there really isn't much about his parents. I mean, there's like mentions of it, mentions of his family, but actually, I know I won't say that. There's not much about his parents. I won't spoil anything. There really isn't that much, and I love that because we've seen it done. It's been done amazing ways, like in Batman Begins or Batman vs Superman, a film I really do enjoy as well. I think that they did it really well, so we didn't need it again, and I'm glad that Matt Reeves realized that. Of course, we have to talk about the supporting cast. So Paul Dano, or Dano, however you want to say it, plays the Riddler here. And this is no Jim Carrey. This is no spandex tights, all this stuff with question marks around. This is a cold-blooded serial killer based off the Zodiac Killer, of course, which is a little bit ironic because this movie definitely took inspiration from that one and the whole story. But he is so creepy. His laugh is nothing that you've heard before. I mean, I've seen him in a ton of things. Prisoners, he's really creepy in. There Will Be Blood, he's great in. But here, it's just not what you expect, but in the best way possible. I mean, he is creepy. The opening sequence of this film is really chilling, I think. It's definitely different from what you would expect. And of course, we have Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, or Selina Kyle, and yeah, she's the definitive one now. I know a lot of people always said Michelle Pfeiffer, and well, I used to always think of her as the Catwoman, but ever since I started reading the comics, I always like the backstory of Selina, the more, year 1 approach and stuff, and that's what this film kind of does, and I love that. I think she's easily the best Catwoman I've seen, both as Catwoman and Selina Kyle. She is perfect. I think she's up there the same level as Robert Pattinson when it comes to performances. And then we have it's a star-studded cast, let's be honest. But we have Andy Serkis as Alfred, and he is great here. What I always have loved about Alfred, I think that the proper Alfred should be respectful, be a great butler, but he always has to talk back to Bruce a little bit, I'm almost done with this job. And I've always found that the best Alfreds do that. That's why I think Michael Caine is so great. That's why I think Alfred in the animated series is so great. Now I've only seen 15, 17 episodes, something like that, but so far I think that's why those Alfreds are so great, and he is up there with them. He is outstanding in this movie. Everybody is just so good. Jeffrey Wright as Gordon, he's just as good as Gary Oldman, and Gary Oldman's Gordon has always been the one that he's been my Gordon. He's exactly who I picture when I think of Gordon, but Jeffrey Wright is just as good as him, and again, it's a different approach. This is like Lieutenant. This is not Commissioner Gordon. He is not at that level yet, so I think that's why this film is so interesting, because it is different from what we've seen before, and the film comes with some amazing action scenes. I mean, every single action scene is amazing, but the true heart and soul of the movie, it's a detective film. If you played the Arkham games, it's a lot like those. The Riddler, obviously, all these clues, and I had fun watching the movie trying to figure out some clues. I did get one of them before Batman said it, and he says them fast, so I was pretty proud of myself for that. So the action is, of course, exciting. It's shot so well. It looks amazing, but I always found myself most interested when there was emotional reasoning behind it, when there's a lot of emotion built up between the characters and all this conflict. I mean, this movie is like 3 hours long. I wouldn't say it feels 3 hours, but it is definitely long. It doesn't feel as long as some of the other ones, but it is perfectly paced, in my opinion, because you get to know the characters early on. You get to know Colin Farrell as Penguin. That makeup, if that does not win the Oscars, I don't know. I don't really know what will. I don't know what would beat that. He is unrecognizable. I mean, as I said, the stars in this movie, they're all so good. This is exactly what I want with a Batman film. I will be talking about this one probably forever, let's be completely honest, a ton the next few days, weeks, all that stuff. I will be able to rank all the live action movies, the actors, all stuff like that. That will all be coming soon. But the Batman is exactly what I want it to be, and I haven't been this satisfied with a movie in what feels like years. The Batman is one of the greatest films I think I've ever seen. Not only is it a perfect comic book film, but by using film noir and mystery techniques, Matt Reeves crafted a flawless 3-hour epic with ease. Robert Pattinson is incredible as Batman and fascinating as Bruce Wayne, as is the rest of the cast. Everybody watching this video, go check out this movie. I swear, you will love it. I'm gonna give The Batman a 5 out of 5. It has been so long since I gave a film a 5 out of 5. I think 2019, it might have been The Lighthouse, which was the last film I gave a 5 out of 5. Something in 2019 when it comes to new releases. It's been so long, I really have not felt this happy with seeing a movie and chills all over in scenes, smiling at some scenes, edge of my seat on others. I really mean it when I say this movie's perfect, and again, I haven't felt that way about a movie in so long, but this one really inspired me. I've always kind of thought about writing my own Batman story, not that it's going to go anywhere, but this movie really inspired me to, hey, just go for it. It could be fun. I love the comics. Of course, I will still keep talking about the comics and some of the movies and stuff like that, and all those rankings will be out soon, but if you've seen The Batman, let me know what you think of it down below. Make sure to come back for my spoiler video, because I have a lot more to say about this movie. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.